Gotham's Dark Knight and Hell's Princess are ready to re-team once more for an Odyssey that would put even the Greek poets to shame in the pages of Absolute Batman issue number 16. But if that isn't enough Diana for you over in the pages of Absolute Wonder Woman number 16, our hero ends up coming face to face with her deadliest foe yet, one with a very familiar name, Zatanna. And as a special bonus, be sure to stick around, everyone, because the brand new Joshua Williamson era of the Iron Avenger is set to begin in the pages of Iron Man number 1. All this and more on your comic shelf this week, so join me and let's dig right on into it. So then, as we join the newest issue, we actually see Bruce Wayne at his day job. It's been a while, hasn't it? It seems that Lucius Fox and his construction crew got the very lucrative contract to finish demolishing Gotham Stadium after Bane's showdown with Batman a couple issues ago. Man, talk about conflict of interest, am I right? Lucius can see that Bruce is very tired, and because he's a good friend, he tries to give him some fatherly advice. Hey, kid, you gotta stop burning the candle at both ends. You gotta have some fun. Get out there, touch grass, ride a horse, get into a fight. Which, oh man, if he only knew what Bruce was doing in his off hours, like trying to rebuild his friendship with Harvey and Oswald. They're still in the hospital recovering from their horrible, disfiguring injuries. And even though Selina was nice enough to drop off a huge sum of money, assumedly to pay for their hospital bills, it's abundantly clear that this is still going to be a long, hard, dark row to hoe. One sadly still filled with the blame game. Oswald snaps at Bruce, saying that he may have defeated Bane, may have saved the city, but maybe next time he should go out of his way to do something for his old friends. And you know what? Those words clearly do cut to Bruce's core, because he ends up going to the Gotham Museum of History and using his special talisman to summon Wonder Woman. Again, this is no small feat, as apparently the talisman only has 3 charges, meaning after this one, he's only got 1 left. Why does Bruce want to see Diana? Well, he hopes that her rather unique skill set might actually allow him to return Waylon Jones' Killer Croc back to human. After all, Greek myth is filled with stories of people turning into animals, turning back, animal-human hybrids, so surely if anyone could get the job done, it's Wonder Woman, right? And as we've seen in her own book, she can indeed transmogrify. Though, as she admits, her mother Circe's magic is not a one-fits-all kind of thing, and if a person is already messed up in the head like Waylon is, using Greek magic on them is kind of a recipe for disaster. Thankfully, though, she knows exactly what the doctor ordered to get Waylon back to himself. To get it, though, they're going to have to go on a classic Greek Odyssey to the lands in between. A treacherous hellscape where everything and anything can kill you. Look at that lightning too long, dead. Stand in that sand too long, dead. Look that Cyclops in the eye. Well, that's just rude. He won't kill you, but you really shouldn't do it. This is also one of those dimensions where time moves differently, meaning Bruce and Diana have weeks to swap stories, including their origins. Really? You were raised on hell? Like hell with 2 L's? Oh geez, your dad died doing what and the police had to pull bats off you? That's horrifying. Now, in another nice bit of characterization, Bruce wonders aloud to himself and Diana if he's actually cut out for this superhero business. Oh sure, he's won some battles, defeated some creatures, but this is a whole other level of weird. Diana continues to be a good friend and booster of Bruce, saying that the power to do what needs to be done has always been in him. She then also gives him a potion that she thinks will give them an edge in defeating the Centaur warrior who holds the magic necessary in turning Waylon back into a human. Only in classic sword and sandal fashion, the only way you can claim the power for yourself is if you are able to defeat the Centaur in combat. Here's the thing though, the potion isn't some sort of potion of strength or vitality. Instead, it actually allows Bruce to have an inward journey wherein he gets the opportunity to talk to his father Thomas again. Hand it to Diana to know what Bruce really needed was a little therapy session. The discussion between Bruce and his father is really sweet too. Thomas says that he didn't feel like a hero the day he sacrificed himself to save Bruce and his friends, but that he did feel like a hero every day before that, being Bruce's father, his teacher, imparting life lessons on him, and that he couldn't be more happy to see his son truly embrace the idea of being an engineer. Someone who sees a better future and begins begins to build it little by little every day, sometimes building, sometimes, well, more. You know, I find it really fascinating that so many of Scott Snyder's Batman stories have really been informed by what is obviously a very personal love of history and architecture, so to have this absolute Bruce Wayne be defined not as a billionaire playboy philanthropist, but instead as an engineer, a builder, I think it's something that really gives this Batman, and by extension this universe, this really specific, very personal flavor, and you know, it's one of the things that keeps me coming back over and over. The next morning, Wonder Woman and Batman are ready to do battle against the Centaur, and oh man, is he a big boy, and he's got jokes too, saying that he will slay the daughter of Circe and her mortal mate, only for Batman to loudly proclaim as if in a war cry, "We're not actually together." And geez, you know, with an attitude like that, you never will be too. I don't see Steve Trevor putting a ring on it anytime soon. The fight itself is really awesome, by the way. Batman ends up getting in some really good hits early on, including punching the Centaur in his horse stomach, something you don't see all the time. Sadly, Bruce reminds everyone what a city boy he is right away by standing too close to the hind legs of the Centaur, only to end up getting absolutely hoofed off the mountain. Thankfully, before the Dark Knight can splatter on the ground down below, he ends up getting saved by the late intervention of Wonder Woman's Pegasus. This thing didn't help earlier because apparently it doesn't necessarily like mortals, but it's making an exception for Batman just this time. Also, hey, if you've been paying attention, in this time Bruce actually did touch some grass, ride a horse, and get into a fight, everything Lucius told him to. And because turnabout is fair play, Bruce also jumps in the way of an arrow fired by the Centaur, a magic arrow that if it hit Wonder Woman probably would have turned her into some sort of creature. Diana manages to rally and conquer the Centaur once and for all before picking up Batman for the long trek back home. Bruce is a little despondent, feeling that they failed to capture the Centaur's magic. Only for Wonder Woman to imply that everything happened exactly as it was supposed to. She wasn't lying before, and she wasn't just trying to hype Bruce up by saying that the power was always in him. She meant it very literally. He did claim his prize. The prize was the arrow, but it only worked when it was mixed with his blood. Geez, Diana, somehow, someway, it's always blood magic with you, isn't it? As the comic comes to a close, Bruce once again returns to work, and Lucius is happy to see that he took his advice to heart. We're also shown that Waylon is going to be able to use the magical arrowhead to regain his human form so long as he wears it like a necklace. All in all, not a bad trade-off. And hey, you know what? One good Wonder Woman story deserves another, because over in her own book, we're treated to a flashback to Diana's time as a baby. It seems that back in those days, Diana's favorite guest on Hell Island was none other than Aphrodite, goddess of love, who is rendered very interestingly in this universe with a translucent pink veil. Young Wonder Woman loved these visits, but one day Aphrodite just completely ghosted her and stopped showing up at all with zero explanation, and all these years later, it's still very much weighing on her mind. Which is not to say Wonder Woman doesn't have a ton on her plate already. With the help of Ferdinand, she was able to relocate all the different prisoners of the maze from a couple arcs ago. Which means they can fully focus on the next crisis, and that is Steve Trevor has been called before the American government to testify for his involvement in the Gateway City attack. The stuffed shirt politicians do everything in their power to try and paint Steve as some sort of lily-livered traitor who crumbled under the influence of the mysterious and foreign enemy Wonder Woman. To Steve's credit, though, he is absolutely not having any of it. He puts the entire commission on blast, saying that he has lived his entire life in the pursuit of justice to protect people, and that the only reason no one died in the Gateway City attack is because Wonder Woman was there to protect them, and if this governing body has a problem with Wonder Woman, well, then they have a problem with him too, and the next time they talk, they better send a damn subpoena. Damn, man, talk about standing by your woman. You know what? I take it back. Maybe Steve doesn't have to worry about Batman. Sadly, what no one knows is that the worst is still very much yet to come. Over in Area 51, Veronica Cale and her team of mad scientists are putting the finishing touches on their next little project. It seems that they have managed to weaponize a parasite, one that looks a lot like Star the Conqueror, if we're being honest, as part of their next big plot to bring down Wonder Woman once and for all. Veronica says that she doesn't simply want to kill Diana, she wants to discredit her and destroy her image very very publicly. And hey, what better time and place to do all of that than attack Wonder Woman at a brand new fancy gala ball at the local museum honoring Greek history. Yes, it seems that Gateway City has gone gaga for anything Greek history, which has been a real boon for Barbara and Minerva. She says that no one wanted to fund her projects before, but now they're throwing money at her left, right, and center. Getting a chance to see Diana schmooze with a regular crowd is also really fun too. She towers over most people. The big ribbon-cutting shears look incredibly small in her hands. And the crowd's comments are also filled with fun little references to the larger Absolute Wonder Woman fandom, like one guy asking very bluntly, "Hey Diana, why don't you wear the cool helmet from the first couple issues anymore?" I mean, truth be told, I didn't actually think about it until you brought it up just now, but yeah, why doesn't she wear the cool helmet anymore? It was a great look. Technically, the evil magic Wonder Woman clone from the previous arc actually did wear the helmet. Is that just going to be her defining characteristic moving forward, I wonder? I'm also not 100% sure, but I actually think this issue might have made another small reference to Atlantis as Diana picks out a series of stones that don't exactly look Greek, but do look like something the Fishman she fought in the maze a couple issues back might very well have made. It's after that, though, things end up getting real screwy real quickly. Wonder Woman passes out, which shocks everyone around her as she seems so damn unstoppable. Once again, her mind strangely turns to thoughts of Aphrodite and why she may have abandoned her all those years ago. We get a flashback to young Wonder Woman training with Artemis. Artemis the god, not Artemis, her Amazon friend. I know that's confusing. Artemis says that she will answer Wonder Woman's question, but only if she is able to best her in battle. And oh man, do they have a super cool fight. Once again, what this book does with paneling absolutely blows my mind every time. Diana mentions that she always liked Aphrodite because she really truly believed what she told her when she was young about love being the most powerful force in the universe and how love can conquer all, etc., etc. And while she does win the fight with Artemis, she doesn't exactly like the answer she's given, and that is that every Greek god believes themselves to be the best and most powerful force in the universe, and maybe the reason Aphrodite doesn't show up anymore is because, well, she doesn't want to see Wonder Woman anymore. Maybe she doesn't believe in love anymore. Things only end up going from bad to worse when Diana actually comes to. She attempts to use her magical powers only to realize she can't anymore. Oh, it's not like they're gone. If that was the case, then she wouldn't be able to use her magical arm anymore. No, it seems that her powers have actively been sealed away from her. And the culprit behind this magical attack ends up revealing themselves moments later as the party comes under attack by Zatanna. We had seen her whisper a magic binding spell on Wonder Woman a few issues ago, and now we fully see what that meant. Oh, but here's the craziest part by far. Zatanna is not alone. She is backed up by the Suicide Squad, a group made up of other Wonder Woman villains, including the returning Dr. Poison, the debuting Giganta, a fish woman, as well as the Cheetah, but not Barbara and Minerva. How about that? That means as this issue comes to a close, Wonder Woman not only has to do battle with a woman who has stolen her magic, but also several other new villains who want her dead. And lastly, this week we have Iron Man #1, courtesy of Joshua Williamson. As we join this story, we are treated to a very familiar scene. A person trapped in a cave builds an iron suit to try and escape. You might be thinking to yourself, oh, is this a flashback to Tony's origin story? Only when this iron guy makes it out of the room, he ends up getting riddled with bullets shot at him by AIM troopers. Yes, it seems this is the brand new evil plot made possible by Madame Masque, old Iron Man foe who's finally back re-establishing herself. Before putting this guy out of his misery and claiming that this test has been a failure, she says that anyone can build a new iron suit. They don't need another iron suit. What they need is another Tony Stark. And hey, where is Tony right now? Well, we see Iron Man is actually duking it out with yet another classic Iron Man foe in the form of Blizzard. Blizzard is trying to steal a brand new power source for his suit, but he made the very poor mistake of trying to steal Roxxon tech instead of Stark tech. Everyone knows Roxxon power sources run hot. Iron Man wins the day before being informed by Melinda May that he is already late for his next engagement, the Tony Stark Awards. And man, I gotta say I'm happy that Melinda May is sticking around from the last run. Loved her on S.H.I.E.L.D. And she really brings a fun personality to this story, standing up to Tony and also reminding him, hey, I am not your assistant, I am your government-mandated handler, which is apparently a thing now following the events of One World Under Doom. Now, what is the Tony Stark Awards all about? Well, it's not actually honoring Tony himself, a mistake he made right away. Instead, the awards are meant to go to some of the best and brightest out there in the worlds of science and technology, people that Tony himself painstakingly picked, believing that they could actually help make the world a better place with their big brains, not unlike Tony himself. In fact, this is such a happy, auspicious day, even Pepper Potts has managed to make it. And Tony tries his hardest to act cool and not like he's completely flustered. Ooh, is this book gonna try and put these two back together? They've been broken up for a bit. Also, hey, speaking of old faces, blink and you'll miss it, but that is very clearly Citizen V's mask in the bigger crowd shot. You know, just having Citizen V hanging out in the crowd and treating it like it's no big deal is maybe like the most Joshua Williamson thing ever. This dude loves his continuity, loves his deep cuts, loves his references, and is basically a master at planting seeds to be harvested later in other stories. I mean, my mind is already racing. Is this the original Citizen V? Is this a new one? There's like 5 people who have had the identity before. I can't wait to see where it goes. Now, who exactly won this inaugural Tony Stark prize? Well, it's a teacher by the name of Adam Ware. This guy's been using advanced technology to try and give PhD-level courses to the types of people who wouldn't normally be able to afford it. So yeah, Tony likes this guy a whole lot. In fact, they bond over their mutual love of ties, as this guy is wearing one that looks almost exactly like one that Howard Stark wore. All in all, a pretty good night had by everyone. Tony defeated a villain, gave a heartfelt speech, gave an award to someone who really deserved it, and even flirted a little with one of the lady caterers. Okay, maybe they aren't putting him and Pepper back together as quickly as I thought, but naturally, because this is a superhero story, tragedy has to strike, as once again, a big fancy gala party is invaded by supervillains. Madame Masque and the agents of AIM grab Pepper Potts and use her as a hostage. Tony's more mad that Madame Masque has just rocked up after so many years of inactivity. And to be working with AIM, no less. In a nice bit of continuity, Melinda May is sure to bring up the fact that Madame Masque washed out of being a New York gang boss over in the Spider-Man books, and is now here trying to do something completely different. As she puts it, she hopes to bring Iron Man's nightmares to life. We get a really beautiful splash page of Tony suiting up in his armor, giving chase to Madame Masque. Thankfully, Pepper Potts isn't your standard damsel in distress and comes equipped with a widow stinger to try and save herself. Tony and Pepper corner Madame Masque only for her to completely blow up. No, this isn't one of those Harry Carey situations. This was actually an LMD. Turns out Pepper's kidnapping was actually a smokescreen to try and cover the real kidnapping of Dr. Ware, the newest test subject, in Madame Masque's twisted project to try and create the next great Tony Stark by applying enough deadly pressure. Naturally, Tony blames himself, and at his brand new base of operations, which is actually an old gamma bunker inside the El Diablo test site, yes, the place where the Hulk was born, we learn that Adam wasn't the only one kidnapped. Apparently, AIM grabbed everybody who was nominated for a Tony Stark award, meaning Iron Man more or less delivered these guys on a platter to the bad guys. Tony's not going to take any of this sitting down, though. He suits up and vows to turn over every AIM headquarters he knows of until he finds where Madame Masque is hiding. In fact, he's so dedicated to getting this job done, he also places a call to Captain America saying that he may need some Avengers assistance. Only here's the thing, the Avengers aren't acting like themselves. For some reason, they're acting like Tony did something wrong and that they might very well be heading to a fight with Iron Man sooner rather than later. I wonder why. And so there you have it, everybody, a little taste of some of the comics on the shelf this week, and I must admit, it's a pretty strong offering, if I do say so myself. Once again, I really appreciate everything that's going into this brand new Absolute Batman story. This is a fun little one-and-done that not only acts as a continuation/sequel to the Wonder Woman Batman crossover from a couple months ago now, but also it serves as a nice little self-contained one-and-done. You could read one story, you could read both, and not really feel like like you were being cheated in any way. I read both, and I'm really happy to say that they do work better in conjunction with one another. It's cool, too, to see this absolute Batman, go through the ringer, think he's finally found his footing, figure out where he's going from here, only to have Wonder Woman roll into his life and completely upend everything. Oh, sure, you fought monsters, you fought conspiracies, but hey, let's do the magic thing. Let's go on a whole Ray Harryhausen sword and sandal adventure. And then to really throw in the extra curveball of Wonder Woman using her powers to allow Bruce to have this sweet little moment with his father, it just completely elevates it from, really good to really excellent, I would say. Overall, I would give that one another 9 out of 10. Just great stuff coming from the Absolute Universe, starting to become more connective and having more and more crossovers. I can only imagine what's going to happen when Batman and Wonder Woman finally get a chance to meet Superman. Of course, not to be outdone this week, Absolute Wonder Woman number 16 also really ended up bringing the heat. I appreciate that this book is really starting to grow its supporting cast now, and letting them have their own adventures and their own wants and needs independent of just simply wanting to help Wonder Woman. Steve Trevor is one of those characters who I feel they have always struggled to give him something to do, instead of just being, the boyfriend love interest, and it's cool to see him grow a backbone here and actually start pushing back against what is obviously bought and paid for corrupt American government. I was also super stoked to see Zatanna set up as this, all-powerful, magical antithesis to Wonder Woman, and I'm happy to say they definitely did not disappoint. Hell, they went even a step further by making this the book that actually debuts the Absolute Suicide Squad, and man, what a different take on the team made up of a bunch of Wonder Woman foes. Kind of fitting, as Wonder Woman's foes were actually some of the first to actually come together and conglomerate in DC comic history, so it's nice that they're kind of paying that off here as well. Gotham's Dark Knight and Hell's Princess are ready to re-team once more for an Odyssey that would put even the Greek poets to shame in the pages of Absolute Batman issue number 16. But if that isn't enough Diana for you over in the pages of Absolute Wonder Woman number 16, our hero ends up coming face to face with her deadliest foe yet, one with a very familiar name, Zatanna. And as a special bonus, be sure to stick around, everyone, because the brand new Joshua Williamson era of the Iron Avenger is set to begin in the pages of Iron Man number 1. All this and more on your comic shelf this week, so join me and let's dig right on into it. And there you have it, everyone, 3 of the biggest books on the comic shelf this week. But believe it or not, we are still not done. My pull list is still not empty, so wait till later in this week, because you know what? We're gonna get to do this all over again. What books am I gonna cover? Well, I guess you'll have to find out, won't you?